Welcome to the Great Distraction.
How's it going, everyone? This is The Great Distraction, and today the topic of discussion is pet peeves. My name is Ben, and with me today are my co-hosts Joe.
What's up?
Thomas.
Hello.
And Glenn.
Howdy.
If this is your first time listening, welcome. We thank you for joining us. The Great Distraction is a podcast that focuses on a vast and random range of topics, and we hope that each episode leaves you with, if nothing else, something to ponder, or in this case, something to really annoy you with.
Really annoy you.
Yes.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Yes, we're starting. And to kick this off, so I thought maybe that there might be something interesting if I looked up the Webster's dictionary definition of what a pet peeve is. And unfortunately, no, there wasn't. It is a frequent subject of complaint.
Or annoyance.
Yeah. And so I was like, man, I was hoping for something cool, like, I don't know, something I didn't think of, an angle or whatever, but nope. Just
Nothing.
Something that you complain about.
Thanks, Webster.
So it isn't even something that annoys you. They didn't even say that, or something that like bugs somebody, like Japanese water drop torture or something. You know, it's just straight up something you complain a lot about. So it could be anything.
Yeah, I was actually doing a little research about this, trying to find some information, looking at some behavioral studies and trying to find out why we have these tics that annoy us
In the first place.
Right. And I found a surprising lack of solid information. There was a lot of Reader's Digest about pet peeves and describing different things that annoy different people, but not a whole lot of the reasons why. One of the only real tangible pieces that I was able to acquire was that once we have identified something that annoys us, it will continue to annoy us.
You can't get it out of your head.
Right. We program ourselves to recognize these things, and once we have recognized that this behavior or occurrence aggravates us, it will continue to aggravate us.
So I was, going along the nature versus nurture thing, I was thinking, okay, these all have to be learned responses, right, based on exposure or whatever. However, then I was thinking about, what about things like that give you chills or something? Is that considered a pet peeve? Like somebody scratching their nails on a chalkboard? That seems to have like
that's a pet peeve. I think, to me, anything that annoys you or you're just like, oh, I can't believe people do that. Why are you so stupid?
So
that's the kind of thing.
The point with the nails on the chalkboard, that is actually a frequency that triggers something in the human
physiological response.
It does.
Yeah. Like chickens screaming.
or a baby's cry. Or a child whining.
Yeah.
Those are, they hit a sound frequency that aggravates almost all humans.
Primitive, predefined
So
warning signs.
Some sounds and occurrences, nails on chalkboard,
the
kids, again. It's a natural reaction to those frequencies.
I've never heard a chicken scream, but I brought that up because I read an article once that was talking about one of the many things that they did with The Exorcist, the original movie, that they were using to scare people, and using a chicken scream apparently hit a frequency that freaked people out.
I know a rabbit scream can be pretty...
rabbit scream.
See, I don't even want to think about how you make a chicken or a rabbit scream. That's horrible.
You start cutting off their feet.
Oh, gosh, dude.
Oh, jeez.
Like lobsters. As a matter of fact, I read another article because I'm thinking about this. You know, when you boil a lobster, when you cook it right, they throw them in the pot live and they scream, they squeal. There's another article. I think the restaurant was in Chicago. I can't remember. It doesn't matter, though. They were trying to get a permit or whatever to use marijuana to get the lobsters high before they... Now, I don't even know if they have cannabinoid receptors or whatever, but nevertheless, they were talking about getting them high so that they can make their death a little better for them.
Cool.
Wow. I know we used
to...
they
just slow boil them.
Well, you just put
it work.
Well,
it takes too long, man. We got to feed people.
True.
But if you put them in the water cold and raise the temperature slowly,
it's the frog in a boiling pot thing, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, but it takes too long. They're like, they want to throw them in there and get them cooking, like get the food out on the table.
Yeah, you got to get people in and out of this restaurant all night.
Right.
We ain't get time for that. You have to start at like
you have to go tell them,
noon.
I'm sorry, sir. You have to wait an additional 45 minutes to cook your lobster because we have to slowly.
We want to do it in a
boil.
humane way.
Yeah, you can also drop them in a tank of CO2 and just provide them oxygen.
That is true too. Yeah, I don't know why they don't do those things.
We used to do that with the rats.
The rats.
Yeah,
so,
I used to have snakes, and
and that's how
we'd gas them.
Gas them.
All right, just like four guys in an apartment farting.
Pretty much. That's what it amounted to.
Brutal.
No, you just put them in a glass tank with a slow trickle of CO2, and eventually they'll just fall asleep. You don't want to like flood them with it because
You might
Wow.
actually. I wonder if you could make the snake sick from if they breathed in too much, and then they can. I don't know if that would be enough to worry about, but yeah.
Never had an issue with it.
Wow.
Anyway, so
All right.
this topic was suggested by Thomas. I don't know, some time ago. And we've had it on the list for a bit, and I remember we asked him like, "Well, Thomas, why in the hell pet peeves?" Like, because Thomas apparently has a lot of them.
And
So,
well, after having a conversation with Joe earlier about our list, I think Joe and I are definitely on the same page with the pet peeves.
I'll go ahead and kick this
Yeah,
off.
there you go.
So my first one is complainers, just people who go through life, no matter what is happening to them or what their situation is, they have something to bitch about. And we have, working in an office setting, we've got plenty of these people. There's this guy who comes over. He must weigh probably weighs around 300 pounds. He's probably been quitting the company for the past 20 years. And just to hear what he has to say, he just always has something new to bitch and whine about. And it's like, dude, shut up. Like, I'll listen to you the first couple times, but at least bring something new or
Right?
just
Another angle.
do some changing in your life to get around. Don't just sit and wallow in your shit. And then if you decide to do that, don't put it on me. Like, I don't care. So I think eventually he kind of got the point after he saw the reaction of us enough times. We just roll our eyes. Oh yeah, still working to quit that job you hate, huh?
Right.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, I know when you work in an environment where there's other people, which is one of the reasons I work alone, is you always have to deal with certain things like that, and people complaining. That drives me crazy because people are just nobody wants to change or do anything. It's just like you always hear people. One of my biggest pet peeves is when people say, "Well, I need to lose some weight. I need to exercise. I need to do that." And like, you're not. You're never going to do anything. I don't want to hear you complain about it all over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
Ugh.
So for me, the pet peeves thing is just stuff that just drives you nuts. I mean, and I feel like this could be more of a therapeutic session where we just kind of scream some of the stuff out and just get over it. Go, you know what? There's nothing we can do about these things, but I'm going to admit that it drives me freaking nuts, and everybody has pet peeves that drive them freaking nuts, whether it's somebody you live with, you work with. For me, it's everybody else on the road except for me. I mean, we all have them.
Sometimes I do things that piss myself off. I'll be
Right?
honest.
My biggest pet peeve is when I piss myself off.
Right?
Hey, idiot, what are you doing over here?
One of the biggest ones that I've run into in my life. I don't get annoyed very often, but
You're pretty balanced.
for the most part. I'd like to think so, but there are a couple things that really just grate.
Grind your gears.
And one of those is the misuse of the word theory. I have heard this so many freaking times.
Get it out, Glenn. Get it out. Scream it out.
Most people, when they use it conversationally, the word they're looking for is hypothesis. I have a hypothesis. I have an idea. I have a concept of what I'm trying, a reasoning for the way something works. That is not a theory unless you have tested it and tested it and tested it again to try to prove that it is actually...
So hypothesis is idea with no backing. Theory
With
is
no
idea with backing.
with multiple testing.
got it.
and,
Some testing.
Some
Right.
research,
Got it.
some reports.
So a theory, something that is actually a theory.
Has some substantiation behind
Is-
it. Substance
right.
behind
It
it.
is-
Substantiality. Would that be the
Yeah,
word?
I'm trying to make up words over here. Is that anyone's
That's
pet
one of my
peeve?
pet peeves. People who don't know words and just make them up to sound smart.
Well, at least I try to recover myself.
Yeah.
Like,
Something that is true to the best of our understanding.
got it.
That's awesome. Most of my pet peeves are driving because, living in
Driving
California, we all know we have to drive constantly, and especially in cities like, Sacramento and stuff. And I just don't get it. I don't understand. I think that we should redo the entire driving tests so we can take out like 50 to 70% of the people on the road.
Oh, those driving tests are... so I just got my license renewed in this state.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I had my license in another state, so I had to retake the driving
Oh,
test.
yeah.
I haven't studied a driving handbook since I was like 17, and I'm in my 30s now. So I did not look at a damn thing. I passed it 100%.
Wow.
No questions missed.
Nice.
Just off the
I'd
top
be
of
a
my
little
head.
worried if you didn't, to be honest.
Seriously.
I
But it was
remember it being really
so
tricky when I was in high school.
freaking easy.
Yeah, when you're 15
And-
years old.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I
And you've never been behind a wheel before, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
But seeing people that just, miss stuff or I don't know.
Well, one thing I realized with a California driving license, I don't know when it happened. It was sometime in like the last 10 years or whatever. They removed on the driving portion of the test, you no longer have to actually parallel park.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
In a state like California, who has cities like San Francisco,
Yeah, but a
and
majority
Los
of people don't
Angeles,
live in them.
The
So, I
majority
mean-
of people in California do live in Los Angeles and San Francisco.
Are you sure about that?
The mass
Those
amount
are
of
the large-
population in this state lives in.
And I had
major
heard they
cities.
just removed it in counties. I didn't hear that they removed it in the entire
Yeah,
for the
it's a
entire state.
statewide thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, I had to do it when I was in doing.
Yeah.
When
When
got
I
my
took driver's
license.
education when I was 15, we did backwards figure eights around telephone poles.
Oh, wow.
It was awesome. My
Nice.
driving instructor was such a cool old dude. He was like, "What do you guys want to do?" And it was just me and one other dude. And we were like, "I don't know. Can we drive backwards fast?" And he was like, "Sure. Let's do a figure eights around these telephone poles."
Awesome.
Should also make you back up a trailer.
Yeah, that's a big one too.
Learning to drive with the trailer
So
would be
many people
a
don't
lot
know
of
how to do that.
Or maybe there should just be a license,
Especially
like the
'cause-
CDL thing,
Or,
trailer.
or a certificate or something.
certificate, yeah.
Because
Like an
everybody
endorsement.
Because everyone could just go get a U-Haul trailer and drive whatever they want.
and then jackknife it in the middle of L Street.
Yep. Yep. And get stuck.
Good
Um,
God.
Seen
I
that
tried.
happen.
I tried thinking of ones that got me on being on the road. I drive about 24,000 miles a year on my cars and have for the last like 10 years. So I mean, you have to learn a zen of relaxing and not letting things get to you. And honestly, nothing really does, except for one thing I was thinking about this morning, and I didn't really understand why it gets to me. It's just I hate the fact that these people think that they can get away with this and break the law, and it's perfectly okay for them, but the rest of us have to suffer. And that's people who ride one person in the carpool lane. And it's always some beat up ass car too, with one it's always a younger person too in there, and they're just like cruising on through. And you're like, dude, where is the freaking cop to get that person? Because I know if I hopped over there,
The cop would be there.
dude,
in a
they'd be
minute,
all over me.
right.
Yeah, that's all I could think of on the road, man.
What about people driving too slow in the fast lane? The passing lane.
I drive in traffic, so there's no going fast. That doesn't really bother me. But yeah,
That one definitely irks me
Does
a bit.
it?
That one drives
And-
me crazy.
and-
I drive a lot across country.
So, right, and driving in other states, you'll get pulled over for that sort of
A
crap.
lot of places, Texas, you'll get pulled over.
Oh
quick.
yeah,
Yeah, it is
Oregon,
illegal. That's for sure.
If you are required by law to remain in the right hand lane unless you are passing,
Yeah.
and if you are caught cruising in that lane, even
Yeah.
if there's nobody else, that's a ticket.
Yeah, and when I learned how to drive, I went to driver's ed, and I had a really good teacher and stuff. And I grew up in a family that drove, race cars and all kinds of different things. So I was kind of into the driving thing really early. And one of the things that the people I was around, they were really adamant about me paying attention and learning rules. And that was one of the first ones that I learned is if you're not passing somebody, get over. That's for emergency vehicles and passing. It's not for cruising at 63 miles an hour in a 65 zone when there's 18 people behind you, because what it causes is all these extra people trying to rush around to the right, unnecessary accidents left and right. And people
Right.
just stand there like, well, I'm entitled to it. I got a car. I'm doing this. It's that entitlement thing. And I think that's what a lot of the problems are with driving in America now. People just think they're entitled. I got a BMW. I'll do anything I want.
I can text and drive. That law
Right.
is not for me.
I can do my makeup while I'm driving. Yeah, that's all right.
Look, I'm
And
so
roll
good
a
at
joint.
multitasking.
yeah.
Oh my God, I used to date this girl in college who would actually paint her toenails while she was driving at 80 down the freeway.
Paint
No
her toenails.
joke. No joke.
Girls are flexible.
Yep.
I love that. That's what you take from it.
Dude, how can I
Yeah,
get my
right?
foot up on the damn dash to paint my? I couldn't even
Is
look
that
at
what
my
she would
foot.
do? I can't.
She
All I
would
can.
literally paint her toenails.
Yeah,
So
but
she
how
would-
would
she
she
put
get
her
her
feet-
foot
yeah.
to see her toenail? How did she? Where did
put up on the dash.
I can't put my foot up on the dash? That's crazy.
Now that is some
There's
flexibility.
no. That's why I said girls
I
are
mean,
flexible. That's crazy.
I could just picture somebody with their head under the dash, way down there below.
Well, I'm assuming she saw to see the
I
road.
dropped
so
something. Oh, I'm painting my
that means-
toenails.
Wow. All right. Other than road stuff, who's got something else here?
Unreliable people who don't follow through with anything. And that's something that's first surfaced in college doing, group projects. Oh my God. Some people are just terrible. Yeah, I thought one class in particular, I got in this group with two really pretty girls. One I was dating at the time, the other one just was gorgeous. I was like, man, I thought I was sitting pretty. Come to find out, she didn't do a goddamn thing throughout the whole semester.
She was pretty. She didn't
And
need
we
to.
had to make up for it and,
Yep.
basically carry her.
Yeah, I have that problem with employees.
Yeah.
Okay.
People
Yeah.
that can't do anything, won't do anything. Or people that say, I hired this guy one time, I was managing a shop, and he was like, just wouldn't leave me alone about a job. I can do this, I can do this. And I was like, dude, all I need you to do is weld aluminum. Oh, I can't do that. It's like, well, I can't hire you. And he fought with me forever. And finally I was like, well, you got to learn how to do that. So I gave him the job to try it. He never even tried. And so when I fired him, he was like, gave me the, I was the most retarded person he'd ever met because I was firing him. And I was like, because I hired you to do a job you can't do. That was my fault. And now that I gave you free training to learn how to do it, you still won't do it. So pet peeves of people just not wanting to get off their lazy, stupid ass and learn how to do something to be an active member of society. That is a huge one of mine,
Yeah.
Entitlement.
Yeah.
Wait, you want me to work for my money?
right?
What?
Eventually, I just learned to stop putting myself out there and relying on somebody for
Just
something
don't
that was
depend on
critical. It's
anybody.
like, no, I can handle it myself, and then maybe if give somebody the option for something, but never rely on them.
Yeah.
Nope, not
I know.
anymore.
And that's
I
a
never rely on
horrible
anyone.
thing. Yeah.
I've never relied
Yeah.
on anyone. If I can't do it myself,
Well, in
I gotta-
situations like that, you kind of have to, like in school.
Yeah.
It's like,
When
well,
they
yeah, you
force
can
to,
try and schmooze with the professor, but 9 times out of 10, if it's a
Yeah.
group project, guess what? It's a group project.
Yeah.
They're not going to make a special case for you.
Yeah.
Right.
So I found.
Yep.
I found. Oh, you know what? Another one when this reminds me of Glenn was talking about the theory. One of my
Or
huge
theory.
pet peeves, and I dealt with this when I was dealing with my grandfather, who passed away many years ago. People who like to use the phrase "old timers disease,"
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
and maybe it's a little more heavy back east than it is out west. But I want to strangle somebody who says, "Oh, well, he has old timers disease."
Really?
If you're
What's that?
referring to Alzheimer's, please learn how to pronounce it, and it is an actual disease.
not-
Old timers disease is not a disease.
It's not a 2-word disease.
Oh
It's
my God,
Yeah. Okay. I can see that.
old timers. Really?
I got another one too. People who believe everything they read and hear.
Yeah.
And this has really become an issue with me, a pet peeve of mine, because of goddamn Facebook and what's trending and the news reports or the studies that, oh my God, I've had people bring up conversations with me. I love spicy food. Absolutely love it. I'm addicted to jalapenos. But I've had people come up and say, I don't mean to, weird you out, but I read somewhere on a study.
Yeah, they didn't want to say Facebook to nullify their entire argument.
That people who like spicy foods are prone to addiction. You should be careful. I was like, oh my God. I felt like saying, people who quote Facebook studies are prone to being idiots. So you should watch out. Shit like that just drives me crazy.
I want to play off of that one because I had one on my list here that was people who are actually proud of their ignorance. Some people
Yeah.
are straight up proud that they don't know and don't care to know what it is they don't know in life, and they don't want to know. They don't want to be filled in. It's like that blows me away. I don't care.
America.
Yeah, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's dude. When I'm getting my hair cut, I'm talking to the stylist about the dyes that she uses in the other girl's hair. It's just I'm interested in everything, and there's nothing I don't want to know. So when I meet somebody who, and that's my very existence. I'm an extremely curious person. When I meet somebody who doesn't want to, who's proud to not know. And it'll be something simple or something that you should care about, like the rules of the road, or what the hell a theory is versus a I was going to say
almost say-
hypotenuse.
Thank you.
Those are in triangles, aren't they?
Yeah, well, it's part of a triangle. It's the long lever triangle. Anyway, hypothesis. Thank you. It irks the hell out of me that they won't. I live on my phone not because I have anyone to talk to. I live on my phone because I'm constantly Googling the answer to everything I'm curious about. Right. So the being proud to be ignorant just destroys me.
Ben's over there thinking, Google it. Google it.
Right.
Google it.
That's it.
One of my pet peeves is people are always Googling stuff.
Trying to have a conversation.
Of course it is.
looking at
Of
their
course
phones.
it is.
Just Google it, bro. Just
Yeah.
Google it, bro. I
So-
can't even go to a bar anymore with some two idiots having a conversation. They just should put their heads together and make a butt out of themselves. And they're just constantly, Google it, man. Google it, bro. Google it, bro.
Well, it's that or you don't know the answer. I mean, which is worse?
Well, it's okay to admit you don't know something.
Yeah, but then the
they
conversation
won't admit
stops. What if you're
something.
trying to let the conversation continue? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Maybe they're just
now
being
you're talking
assholes.
you're talking more about arrogance than you are
Well, that's-
about
yeah, that's
about educating yourself is what
That's
I'm
true.
talking about.
I guess my real pet peeve is stupid people.
Well, we can go down the list and kind of that
Or
it
drunk,
touches on
drunk
all these.
bros in a bar.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I can understand how women have such a hard time going out because most guys I see in a bar, I just want to punch them.
Yeah, well, drunk girls aren't necessarily always
Yeah, I
better.
kind of want to
so-
punch some of those ones.
Yeah,
too.
I don't know about that, but yeah, we could.
But there's not much funnier than sitting back and watching a bromance unfold. Like
Oh, yeah.
I've seen some hilarious stuff just happen just between two obvious bros and like, man, you want to step outside and settle this? One dude walks out, comes back 10 minutes later and like hugs it out with his bro. I mean, just classic.
just had to go outside and make out for a little bit.
Right. I had to
here-
kiss it out.
Here's a pet peeve for you guys that I'm sure you all really appreciate about me is that I cannot stand text messages.
Oh man,
Freaking hate them.
fucking Glenn. That's
Or
seriously.
phones in general, yeah.
Pretty much.
Though he carries an iPhone and the plus size with him.
And he's
So I
always
don't get
using
it.
it because there's headphones always on his head.
Well, music, man.
Music,
Yeah.
podcast, whatever.
Coming
but
from the
it's-
phone.
It's just it's a form. It is a little ironic, but whatever. We work
I
around
get it.
I'm gonna
It's-
start texting the lyrics to your favorite songs.
Thank you.
Nice.
No, but I mean, I've got it.
Being glued to your phone is annoying, though. That
It is annoying.
I hate that. And if I have too many text messages, some days I'm sitting at work and it'll be one of you guys, it'll be my dad, it'll be my mom, it'll be my friend, and like all at once. And I'm like, what the hell? Why is this happening all at once? I can't deal with answering you people. And then it creates like a sense of urgency, like I'm supposed to get back to all these people because I don't want to be rude and they're asking me a simple question. Like, okay, whatever. But sometimes, yeah, it can be a total pet peeve. So leave me the fuck alone.
If I get a text and I don't have the immediate ability to answer it, I'll look at it, I'll glance, I'm like, oh, there's a text, and I'll kind of swipe it off, and then I'll never look at it again.
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
a
we
pet
know
peeve
Glenn.
of mine, Glenn.
It's like,
We know Glenn.
but talking about the cell phone though, there's a lots of pet peeves of the cell phone for me,
yeah.
especially loud talkers. You're somewhere like it's, anywhere you go, like you're let's say you're at a checkout line and there's some person in front of you or behind you or whatever, and they're just like screaming, arguing, conversation on their cell phone, and you're like, so I'm supposed to be the polite one and not just punch you to get you to shut up, but you're screaming in the behind my head.
I found some information about that particular pet peeve. And when people are talking, we try to engage ourselves in figuring out or tracing along that conversation, where we are acquiring information to try to see if anything relates to us. It's part of our social behavior. So when we're only getting half of a conversation, we are missing things, and we're trying to compile something that's working, but we're only getting half the picture, which is causing a
problem.
A problem in our mental processes, which is what drives that annoyance.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then on the other side of the same coin, I don't know about you guys, but if I have my iPhone up to my ear, I can't hear anything. I swear the stupid speaker isn't loud enough. So it can be a natural reaction to speak louder when you cannot hear, when you are not receiving that which is being sent to you. You're like, well, if I yell louder, it's interesting because in radio communication, it kind of works that way. You can actually transmit louder to receive better based on the intent. Anyway, but
that reminds me of the whole theory of that. No, I'm not.
Thank you.
Oh, man.
That reminds me of the situation
Where hypotenuse?
a hypotenuse where people are talking to somebody that doesn't speak the same language, so they think louder.
Yeah.
Oh, you're just shouting at each other.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Do you understand? Like, guys looking at you like, what is this moron doing?
That one actually was on. So I actually looked up a couple of lists of some of the most common pet peeves and through whatever various surveys and stuff like that, right? And that one was on both of the two biggest ones that I found was people having too loud of conversations in cell phones. It is annoyance for a lot of people. You guys aren't alone in that one.
How about not washing your hands in the restroom?
I have that
It's
right
gotta
here.
be on there.
It's on mine. That's my personal one. Yeah,
I see it all the time
Dude.
working in an office setting. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, you'll be sitting in the stall and you hear the guy come in. You hear the door close to the stall. You hear him sit down with no ass gasket being pulled out. He's just right on the shitter. And then he gets up and he walks right out. And you hear him take a crap. You got to listen to that part too. And then he gets up and walks out. Yeah, I can't stand that.
So nasty.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons the fist bump is getting so popular, dude.
Yeah,
You don't
stop
shake
shaking hands.
Yeah, don't shake hands, dude. Yeah.
Fist bump.
That
all
is
business.
So there's another one too that I had on my list that was the same thing. Was I can't understand this one because I never really heard of it until again working where we work in the office setting. People will come in and turn the water on and leave it on and leave the bathroom after they're done, leaving the water on the faucet. I don't understand it. They just leave the water running, or they'll wash their hands and leave the water on because maybe they don't want to touch but you can get a paper towel and turn the faucet off if you're that paranoid.
People are assholes.
Yeah, and they'll leave it running. And then what makes me feel bad is like the next person who comes in, I wonder if they think that I'm sitting in their stall and like I have to have the water running, so I turn the water on.
That's when you just say, hey, can you get that?
Yeah, dude, I've wanted to chase people down
Little
for
help.
that, like run outside the bathroom, like, but I'm sitting in the stall and I'm stuck, and I want to run out there and, dude, why the hell didn't you turn the water off? What is wrong with you?
Embarrass them a little bit.
I would love to. Yeah, one of these days I probably will.
Yeah, what you do is you walk out in the office later and go, hey, you were the guy that just took a crap and didn't wash your hands.
Right. You should get on that. Take care of that.
Yeah.
Well, it's the worst is when they do that and then you see them go and handle food.
Oh, dude.
That was the one
that.
that was the one that did it for me. I was like, oh my God, you just reached into that bag of snacks and everybody else has got a hand into. I was like, no, thank you.
We rarely have food in my
Stop
office.
sharing
but-
stuff for that.
yeah.
So since we're in the office setting, how about someone who calls you and puts you on hold? The worst. Like, how much of an asshole can you be?
I'll hang up.
Oh, I definitely hang up. Like, yeah, sure, I'll hold. Click.
I don't think I've had that happen, but that would annoy me.
I've had
for
that
sure.
happen. I've had people call me that were solicitors on my
Oh,
phone
I don't
and
pick up-
actually do that.
I don't
I'm
ever
like,
answer a number. I don't-
seriously?
Yeah.
No.
No. Seriously, no.
Yeah. That's
Or
a huge
too
one.
much cologne and perfume. That's the worst.
That's
When
headache inducing.
Yes,
yeah,
it
whenever you
is.
can breathe it and taste it,
Taste
in the
it.
back
When
of
you
your
can taste it,
throat,
dude.
oh my god, I just have to say something. I have to always.
Yeah, my mom used to say anyone who wears that much cologne or perfume is trying to hide something.
Like weed.
Well, she never really said what they were trying to hide.
Oh,
but
okay.
Question.
Then
It brought up the question.
One
to
of the
me,
ones.
go, hmm,
One of the ones on my list was bo, dude. Yeah,
BO?
maybe they're trying to hide bo.
That's true. I don't know.
I
I think
can't-
she was a little deeper in the psychology on that one, though.
Okay. That may be, but
The BO.
I still can't stand bo.
Yeah.
It's like, oh damn, man. Unless you're working or something with your guy friends or whatever. But I mean, people who are like in public when they're like supposed to be dressed respectfully or something. At least like.
They smell like a dead rat.
Yeah, exactly. Dude.
It only really bothers me when you're like in a close setting, like a bus or line. or
Well, where it
something.
became,
Yeah.
it was never an issue to me until I was in college and majored in engineering. There's a lot of, I don't know what nationality they are, Indian. I don't know what it is, but they don't believe in wearing deodorant.
Oof,
and
brutal.
we would have to like air out the classrooms before we
God
could go in. It was
damn.
bad. And
Wow.
I mean, I say that and it sounds funny, but I'm really not joking. It was that bad.
Yeah, I've been into quite a few yoga studios, and it's like hot and sweaty.
Especially
You
hot
smell
yoga. I
it.
bet what's
You got- I don't know. I don't fuck with hot yoga, but
Oh.
yeah, you got to open the door, clear it out, turn a fan
Yeah.
on, let that shit air out.
So when I was
didn't
in,
even think
air
about that.
dry that shit.
I didn't know it was a pet peeve until that time, and it was like, oh man, this is brutal, dude. Now we
Right.
got to be in this classroom for an hour, and like even the professor would
Oh.
give us time to, but I mean they can only give you so long because they got to teach a class, right? That's
So I didn't. Glad that wasn't one of my obstacles in college.
Yeah, I know. And for me, like I said, a lot of the pet peeves for me are just driving because I spend so much time driving. But I just don't understand why people do things that are so stupid. And I think that's another thing is probably a
'Cause
pet
they're
peeve for
stupid.
me because they're stupid. And I think if I just accept that, then I can understand these things easier. But you got somebody saying, somebody's parked in front of you and you're at a green arrow. You're waiting in line to turn.
Green
and they're
arrow.
like, they're waiting for a turn arrow.
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
And they're like 5 car lengths back from the person. The next person's like 3 car lengths back. So by the time you pull up, you're like a quarter mile back from the light, and there's nowhere else to go, and you're gonna miss a light because 2 people don't know how to. They just either don't know the distance of their car, or they just can't park, or something stupid. I mean, I don't get it. The little things like that drive me crazy.
driving
'cause
habits.
It's driving habits because, for me, like running a business, I'm constantly driving. I constantly have 4 or 5 places to go in a day, and I only have so long to do it because somebody closes. This place closes at 3:30. This place, whatever. So I'm constantly trying to zip around town and get all this stuff done. All these little things like that, after a while, they'll just drive you crazy. I think that's why people like in LA, obviously there's the traffic in general, but when people drive like idiots or do stupid things like they don't know when to turn on a one-way from a one-way, they don't understand that concept. Little things like that. But it goes back to the whole driving thing. I think we should redo the entire scope of how to get your driver's license across the board.
I think that's kind of touching on another issue with our society, I suppose. Being in a vehicle, we are closed off. We are in a bubble.
MySpace,
It is yours exactly.
my territory,
You are.
my bubble.
It's you and who's in your car.
Nothing
versus
else
Everything
exists.
else.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, back in the day on a wagon, you come to an intersection, you can say what's up to somebody,
Right?
or there's more options for communication.
That's true. I think
we're very
I'm
closed
going to go
off.
back to people are stupid.
And
People
there's-
are stupid.
There's got to be a
for damn sure.
There's got to be a psychological condition that go. There is studies. I mean, road rage. There's all kinds of effects of that whole bubble mentality with driving. Yeah. That's
So
for
when,
sure.
when I'm walking to work, I'll just back up your hypotenuse here.
Oh, we got.
I walk a lot to work, right? And I see people on their cell phones, which is, fine. But then they get to an intersection and they will walk across the street. I'm not even joking, without even looking up from their goddamn phone.
That's amazing.
People are
seen that.
stupid.
Yeah.
I can't. that
I've
just-
seen that. It blows me away
just
too.
does not compute. I'm like, how stupid can you be?
And it's especially frustrating to me because like I was raised with look both ways before you cross the street. I mean, it's just a simple
and get your head out of your ass.
Well, yeah, sure.
Stop, look, and listen.
I mean, there were no cell phones back then. You still looked both ways before you crossed the street. You want to get by a car? No.
But then not just that, people wonder why they get targeted and become victims. Well, because when somebody sees you who has, who's on the lookout for something like that, a prey, they're gonna see you buried into your elbows on your goddamn cell phone. You're oblivious to what's happening around you. Well, guess who's an easy target?
Yep. People who aren't aware of their surroundings every time.
Yeah,
So
it always blows
stupid.
my mind when, especially here in Midtown, people walk around. And I see people walking on their cell phone. Same thing. They don't look or anything. But it always blows my mind that if you're a girl, a woman, and you're walking around, especially in like a city or something, I would think that you'd want to spend a little bit more time, checking out
Being
your area and being
conscious of your surroundings. Yes. Yeah,
they're
not,
buried into
well, many of them are not like that. That's what we're around for. We're supposed to keep our eye on what's going on around us.
I don't know. I'm just waiting for Darwin's theory to take out more of these people.
Yeah, it's actually relatively safe these days. I don't think survival of the fittest is quite as effective as it used to be.
I think the illusion of security is more set.
Yeah,
we are not safer.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah.
No, but we believe it.
Right.
Because it was probably a post on Facebook.
Playing off the cell phones, though, one of the ones that kills me is when I see somebody's phone and the screen is all dirty or cracked, or they just don't have respect for the technology. Nowadays, cell phones are way more common, and they're more commonplace, and like everybody gets a new one every year, and it's like they mean less. But this has bugged me since my first cell phone 20 years ago. And I would see people who own them and they just didn't care, or girls especially. God damn it, it pisses me off. They just throw them in their purse like it's nothing, and they don't care. Oh, they'll get another one. It's like there is so much.
We're a throwaway culture.
There is so much engineering. There is so much quality control. There is so much amazing technology that is in every single one of these cell phones that we take for granted that I can't do anything but look at it with the grandest of respect. Despite what it may have done to our society, whatever, don't look at any of that. But this thing that we carry, this freaking computer with 10 times more technology than what took us to the moon, people just throw in their purse or they scratch the screen all up. Everybody's got a cracked screen, and man, it kills me. It really kills me.
The cracked screen drives me crazy, especially in art. Because people say, "Oh, check this out." I'm like, "How can you see anything, dude? It's all
line right through it."
The worst part about it is usually that's their screen, that's the protector that's broken, and they don't even know it.
I just made Glenn do that the other night. He had one of those glass protectors.
I'm like,
on
dude,
there.
that's not your screen.
No, and it was cracked, and I was like, Glenn, take that off, dude, and go buy. Now his screen looks beautiful, dude. Now because he hasn't had a
because I've had a screen protector on it this whole time. So.
But he was
screen
but he was
protector.
okay with leaving the cracked screen protector on there. That
sure,
kills
because
me.
replacing it costs money, man.
All right.
So to touch on this, it really drives me crazy when people are so particular about their possessions that they got to keep it in perfect, pristine shape, and they can't get a little scuff on stuff.
Most of the time,
man, use your things, man.
Most of the
you
time,
have it to use.
If
and
you want it to
enjoy.
stay new, don't use it. That's what
wait,
we used to
wait.
say about
No.
motorcycles. When people buy a motorcycle, they're like, "Oh, if you don't want your motorcycle to be scratched up, don't ride it."
there's another one that
If you
kills
don't
me
want your
right
car
there.
to have a
Makes sense
dent
to
in
me.
it, don't drive it.
There's another one that kills me right there. The misconception that used things have to look like they're used.
They don't
Not
have to look
true.
like they're used, but they're
Not
going to
true.
get a little worn in.
Not true. I have owned things for up to electronics for a decade, and they still look brand new, even if I use them all the time. This phone right here with 0 scratches anywhere is now almost 4 years old. No scratches anywhere, and I'm one of those minimalist case wearing people. No screen protector.
All I
nothing.
can say
Just
is-
take
all I
care
can-
of your shit.
So I've got a wear on the side of my phone from it rubbing on the inside of my
That
pocket.
sucks.
That would drive you nuts.
Nuts.
I think you should show it to them all the time.
All right, here, take a look at
Put it
this.
as
man.
close as possible.
He's gonna send me text message
Yeah,
pictures
send it-
of the scratched phone corner.
I'm going to start texting Ben photos of cracked screens.
You guys are assholes.
All right, how about I got one. Duck face.
Duck face.
I actually saw
face.
that on the list. Duck lips, you mean? Yeah. When they
Duck
take,
face.
Yeah.
It's called duck face.
Wait, what?
Duck face. When girls do duck face in
I have
selfies.
no idea what you're talking about.
Yes, I'm sure you do. You just can't picture
They make
it.
kissy lips, like
Yeah.
pucker their lips up, and that's duck lips. It's Joe calls it duck face. I thought the ones
duck
It's like
face.
this,
the
Glenn.
list I found said duck lips.
It's
but
like this,
okay.
Glenn. I know people can't see this, but Glenn can.
Oh, nice.
And stick your ass out too, and you've got it.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
So-
all right.
And then you have to shoot from really high up and shove
Weird
your boobs out
angles.
as far as possible,
Yeah.
so nothing else is
Yeah.
visible on your body except your duck lips and your boobs.
And your cleavage. That was totally one on my list. Girls
face.
with it take too many selfies. Either you see it flooded on their social media, or you see them in public.
Oh man, I've
Well, you
actually
know, you-
dated
you-
a girl.
I can't stand that crap.
I've actually dated a girl like that, and
It's like the most narcissistic thing I've ever seen anyone
Oh, dude,
watch
it
them
is the-
do.
it
It's
is the pinnacle.
unreal.
well, you have to sell the highlights in your life. Otherwise,
Right.
you don't have validation.
Yeah, but there's no highlights in taking pictures of yourself. I mean, if you're like, oh,
Well,
look
you're
at
just
where
self-absorbed. So
Yeah,
this
that's
isn't
what it is.
what matters.
It's like
yeah.
if you're in a cool place and you put yourself in a selfie with something cool in the background or whatever. But I mean, when you watch, and usually it's a pretty girl, when you watch her take 15 pictures in the same position with just a slightly different smile here or curl up the eyebrow here or change my hair a little bit this way and turn my head a little this, like, what the hell? You're like
Just
your
trying
own-
to get the right angle.
You're
man.
like in a
She has
photo
like two
shoot.
versions of the duck face. There's the
you really start to wonder what their other hobbies are.
They
and if
don't
they
ever
have
have
any
other hobbies. They never do.
And then
Have you
quickly you realize, no, this isn't going to last.
Have you ever had? So every once in a while, I'll
I've
get
never dated one like that.
Oh, it's
every once in a while, I
great.
get somebody will send me like a friend request on something or something like Instagram or Facebook or whatever. And I always, especially if I don't know this person, I'm like, oh, who is this? And if I see, especially if it's somebody who has just like a multitude of selfies, I just immediately just kind of just walk away. I can't be friends with people who are constantly taking selfies. That drives me crazy.
No, it drives
That's
me-
a
yeah.
pet peeve for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, how do you guys feel about like PDA?
That I saw that come up
Get
a
it
lot
on.
actually. I don't really feel comfortable doing it myself, but other people, I don't really care what they do.
So if they're like getting into each other's clothes next to you at the bar when you're having a drink, you're okay with
Right next to me, I don't know.
You
I've
know
never
what?
had
If
it
they're
happen,
putting on
I
a
mean-
show, I'll watch.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see that would annoy me. I just whatever. You
I've
guys,
seen
you
some
know.
pretty funky shit go down at clubs around here. Like,
Oh, yeah.
whoa, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I
I'm
just
not a-
asked
I'm not a
about it
big
because
fan of it
I
either.
saw it a lot,
I
too.
know a lot of people would have that as a pet peeve. It's not one of mine.
Well, what's funny is that is kind of a pet peeve of mine. And one time I was at this bar and I was looking over at this girl and I was like, man, she looks really familiar. And I watched this dude stick his hand down the back of her pants. The whole time I was like, are you freaking kidding me? We're in a public place. And I walked over and I was like, oh my God, that's a buddy of mine's girlfriend.
Grab an ass, huh?
And I had to call him because I was like, and it was before cell phones. And I was like, I'm in a bar and your girlfriend has some guy and his hand is down her pants.
Whoa.
Like front or
Were
back?
they still together?
In the back. Yeah, they were still together.
Damn.
You
Yeah.
had to go right for the tushy, huh? Under
Oh,
the
yeah.
under the clothing.
Dude, I just like looked up. I was at a table and I looked up a table in front of me and I was like, wow, she looks really familiar. And as I'm thinking that, this guy's hand just went zoop, right into the pants.
Wow. All right, I'm throwing this one out there because I can't stand them. Commercials of any kind. I don't
Yeah.
like advertisements in apps. I don't like it in streaming music, program or whatever services.
One of the main
radio,
reasons why I don't watch
games.
TV.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I don't
Right.
watch TV anyway either. But yeah, commercials on TV when I'm over at somebody
God, it
else's
drives
place.
me nuts.
Yeah, I hate being advertised to. That one is huge with me.
Yeah. Well, that's,
And I will most of the time pay that extra $1 or $2 for an app to not have ads or whatever, or pay for the service. Like I pay for Spotify. I'm not going to hear ads, but I want all the music. So yeah, I hate ads.
That's a huge one for me too. I do not want to be told what to think.
That's right. I
Right.
adamantly do things, make changes in my life so that I never have to be exposed to advertising.
Yeah, that's one of the things I noticed when I was in Europe. When I was on the highway, there are almost no billboards of any sort
Oh wow!
on most of the highways in Europe.
Wow.
Also,
You can actually see the land. It was amazing.
Not color displays for
Right?
the.
I know,
the big
over
billboards.
bright color displays. Remember that one the other night, Joe?
Yeah.
I kept
So
telling about
bright.
this one. It's so freaking
Right
bright.
off
That
80,
is a huge
by
one, yeah.
the mini car dealership. That one, that thing is on so bright at night.
You
It
mean the
was
Automall?
on 80? No, right here.
Oh,
yeah,
down
closer
here.
to
like,
here.
Okay.
by,
okay.
by
But-
like a Fulton.
Okay.
It is
got it.
insane how bright it was.
Yeah.
Like it was bouncing off my rearview mirrors and blinding me as I
Yeah.
was driving
Damn.
past. It's
See,
insane.
And
how
there's
bright
supposed
that
to
is.
be. There is
There should be
regulation for that.
ordinances
Yeah,
on
but
them,
we,
right?
I don't. We don't. Who do we call? Nobody knows who
the
to call.
company that owns the
Well,
marquee
no.
or
There's
whatever it is.
actual government or county
yeah,
or
there's-
city
yeah.
who go check that stuff. But if you think about it, they probably work during the daytime. They're probably asleep and not checking those out unless
Yeah.
somebody calls them and says, "Hey, this one is horribly offensive."
I'm thinking about calling the marquee.
If you could
as
find
the
out
name of
who,
the
and
company
if you get a
that owns
number
it.
for it, and it gets you through to somewhere, I would love to know about that
Dude,
too.
and
Because there's one in Roseville that's
but those
like
things, those are huge pet peeves for me in general. Like the advertising in general is
Yeah.
a huge pet peeve. But those
Majorly.
digital signs, are you kidding me? Do we really
Terrible.
need that?
Terrible.
that. Yeah.
well, it puts it in your face, so you see it.
Oh my god!
While you're driving,
While you're
unless if
driving,
you don't
'cause
have
you're
enough
already mad at
distractions.
somebody who's driving too slow in the left lane.
Yeah.
Like you need to add that to it.
So one that grew, I kind of grew into me, and I don't know how it happened. It just kind of crept up on me in life. I guess as technology got better and better, I cannot stand web pages that load slow.
Oh
And
yeah.
it might be a web page, it might be my device, it might be my internet connection, but whatever.
Could
it
be
is,
your porn.
yeah, it irks the hell out of me,
Oh
man.
man, 56K porn.
Yeah.
Line by
Spend
line.
10 minutes waiting for the picture to load.
Yep. There
One
you go.
pixel at a time.
But see, back
It was doing the rows, man.
Back then, I was super patient, dude. I would wait to download an MP3 for an hour if I had to, like whatever. That was the quickest you were gonna get, right? But now, I guess it got spoiled, and man.
those are
it
those are
bugs
what
the
we
hell
call
out of
first
me.
world problems.
It is well,
Totally.
I think all these are first world problems, Thomas. I don't think people in backward tribes are worrying about commercials or
People
driving
slow.
problems.
Right.
They're lucky if they can get their
I'm sure
car
they
on
have
the
their
road.
own. I'm sure they have their own pet peeves.
Oh, yeah, of course.
One guy's talking about this other dude from another tribe that irks him every time he sees him out in the field.
Yep.
So I got another one. When people copy your ideas and get credit for it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, that's illegal, but
Well,
I mean,
no,
to a
I
certain
mean,
degree.
Plagiarism.
not like
Not plagiarism
officially.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, got it.
Yeah, but another one that is a real pet peeve of mine is when people do something very basic and they get a ton of accolades for it. Like the most basic thing they can possibly do, and everybody's just, oh, it's amazing.
You could say
so
that about a lot of
amazing."
popular music.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. I've seen people do stuff. The things that I've studied or done or really put a lot of time invested in. Just like you work in glass. You see somebody comes up and like, oh, I just started glass. Everybody's like, oh, that's amazing. You're like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's week one of glass, dude.
There's actually somebody who's made a name for himself doing a super easy, simple technique, rudimentary, that comes to mind when you say that. But I mean, hey, I'm not going to knock somebody, dude. If you can take that, rinse and repeat, and sell it to people for thousands of dollars, well, fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, I would do it too.
Point.
I would think you would see the same thing in your line of work too.
I
mean,
see it
you know,
all
I mean,
the
people
time,
who like
dude.
all it takes is one good idea and then
All the
blows
time.
up, and like maybe he doesn't know anything about welding, but now he's one of the best known metal artists
Oh,
in the
yeah.
world
I see it
because
all the time.
yeah, I mean that. But art, it has nothing to do. Well, it shouldn't have anything to do with skill. Art does
You
not.
think art shouldn't have anything to do with skill?
Oh,
Are you kidding me?
Hold on.
Wow.
So art is a subjective. The definition
Format.
of art. Yeah. Anyway, so therefore anyone can produce art. So therefore that has to be void of any required skills, intelligence, capability. I mean anything. I mean, are you telling me a quadriplegic couldn't figure out how to do art that could sell? Fuck
I'm
if
not
you
I've
saying
actually
that at
seen
all.
somebody super badass who paints with a paintbrush in his mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, there you
Square
go.
by square.
So
Yeah, are you following that dude on Instagram?
This
Does,
was
like,
years
the
ago
cars?
now. This was
Yeah.
years ago now.
so
There's a guy on Instagram now that does a lot of cars and stuff, and he paints.
Oh,
them.
okay.
so therefore
Phenomenal.
along those lines, yeah, you don't have
But I
to have
disagree.
any
I think you
skills
have to
or-
have skill to make good art.
I think when you're selling something to, let's say, the ignorant masses,
It doesn't
they
matter.
just care about whether it's pretty to the eye. They're not going to pick apart and say, well, this has more technique behind it than this.
Oh, I agree. And that goes
because they're
back to-
ignorant to it.
Well, that goes back to a theory I've had for a long time: is conceptual
theory?
always wins.
A
I'm sorry,
hypotenuse.
sorry, Glenn.
Oh, shit.
Hypothesis that I've had for a long
Hypotenuse.
You're talking about triangles again?
Right?
Yeah. That's like that Jeff
It's a
Koons.
square I used to
It's
have.
like that Jeff Koons piece that just got put in front of Golden One. The first
yeah.
time I looked at it, it's like a reflective group of brush strokes and made into a sculpture.
Yeah.
That didn't warrant anything impressive
Not
to
$8
me.
million.
But
that-
people love it, I guess. I don't know. Somebody. That's
Well,
what
I
I
think
hear
That's-
at least.
That's art.
Yeah,
That's
but
art,
I
yeah.
think you're always subjective. There's a 50-50 chance that somebody's going to like it or not, whether it's music, art, or whatever. But going back to the art thing, and God, I just lost my train of thought.
Does
Oh,
it
you
does it
kidding me.
require skill at all?
Doesn't require skill
or
Oh.
intelligence?
No. Oh, okay. So that's what I was trying to say before. Is I have always felt even dealing with like high art situations that conceptual always wins out over technique. Because
Yes.
even though I'm extremely high in the technical side of what I do, I really enjoy seeing somebody pull off an idea who may not have even remotely knew how to do or make anything, but somehow they pulled it off because the conceptual side of it was so strong and so compelling that it didn't matter. And I think that if you look at a lot of art that people are like, oh, I could do that, or whatever, and you hear that a lot. Well, a lot of reason that sort of art gets really popular or does really well is because it's conceptually beyond anything that anybody else has ever done.
Got it.
And that's a very strong point in art in general.
I also think there's something to be said for simplifying pieces.
Absolutely.
Because I've seen something that's like design or pattern heavy next to something that's more sculptural with bold colors. And the bold colors and the way they play and the way they sell an idea can sometimes make that piece more attractive just at first glance because it's simplistic, it's to the point, it's not oversaturated with colors, and they all speak to the end goal.
Yeah. Well, that's and for me and just the work I do, I learned a long time ago that the intricate mixed media sculpture stuff I used to do was really hard to sell. I started doing like giant, weird, crazy shapes that are really basic and simplistic. Changed everything. Much more easy to digest. It's not trying to prove a point. It's neutral. Throw in a couple cool colors. Bam.
All right, I'm bringing us back to road pet peeves. There was another one apparently I forgot about here that I had written down. This doesn't happen to me too often, but if I'm driving around surface streets and I'm stopped at a stoplight and the light turns green and they're always super ghetto people, decides to walk across the street even though it's green light for me to go and it's red light for them to cross, and they'll just slowly walk across the street in front of you because that is the only thing they have in their life that they can control, and they want to take it out on you right now because they have the power.
Goddamn homeless.
It happens to me a lot. Downtown, it happens to me. I've never had it happen anywhere else, but down here, yeah. that
Well,
one.
Well, I just wonder if it's the
bugs me.
same thing that happens in China, where a lot of people just throw themselves on a car and be super theatrical about it, trying to collect insurance money.
Maybe they want me to hit them. Yeah, I mean,
I'm
I
sure
would,
they
I
do.
would believe that.
Well, in
yeah.
California, maybe 10 years ago or something like that, 10, 12 years ago, there was a big thing going on in California where people would cut in front of somebody and lock up their brakes so you'd hit them in the back.
Nice.
So they could see
Yeah, because it was your fault for
It was
hitting
your
them.
fault,
Yeah,
Damn.
I don't think that works like that. But yeah, anymore. But yeah, you're right. It was a thing. Another one, and I apologize to all the parents because I know it's I'm sure it's difficult, but it's how it's handled that kills me. Parents letting their kids scream it out in public. Oh, go ahead and throw that tantrum. I'm not going to spank the shit out of you. Just go ahead and
Smack 'em.
No.
just go ahead and yell it out there and annoy everybody in the restaurant, theater, a grocery store, wherever the hell you are. Yeah, that's wonderful.
bad
We-
parenting is
we
not
love it.
leaving,
Mine.
not leaving, just sitting
Yeah,
there. It's
grab
like,
the
really?
kid, get the hell out of the location. That's what they did with me when I did the same
Right, yeah.
tantrums, and then I got the belt as soon as we got in the van.
That's why I'll look over and say, "God damn, that kid's got lungs." Usually they get the picture.
I like that one.
That one's a big.
I was at a restaurant one time and there was and I felt so bad for these ladies, but my buddy that said it, I'm not going to apologize for him. He's kind of an ass. But I was in this restaurant and there was 4 ladies that you could tell they were just having lunch, and they had newborn babies and they were all groups hanging out, and I
Trying
was
to still hang out
trying to
like
still hang
normal.
out, and I was cutting them some slack, man. I was like, man, these they have newborns, blah blah blah, and 2 or 3 of them are going, and at one point my buddy's like, Jesus Christ, shut that fucking kid up in
Damn.
the middle of the restaurant.
Wow.
That's great.
I was just I just turned bright red, totally embarrassed. I just wanted to hide
That's
under the
funny.
table.
Yeah, and I got to agree with you. I do feel
That's
bad.
hilarious,
Yeah, I do feel bad that they have to deal with that. But the other side of the same coin, I didn't tell you
That's
to
their
have
goddamn
kids.
decision.
Yeah, and you know what? If you got to stay in the house with that kid till he's 6, until
Yep.
you can control him, then
Yeah,
that's
really.
what it takes. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a part of parenting
It's,
that
that's it.
everybody
It's
has
part of the
to deal with.
part
you
of the
know?
sacrifice,
Yep.
man. I mean, that's how I look at it anyway. But I don't
Yep.
like kids, so
Yeah.
that's,
Well, when
that's
I was
why.
a kid, though, I didn't act out in public because I
Oh,
knew
because
better.
we got spanked.
I knew better. My mom
Yeah.
would take one look at me, and I'd be like, "Time to shut up."
Yeah, it wasn't. Oh, just let him scream it out.
Oh no,
I
You'll scream it
used
out
to
as I'm
get
beating
the,
you.
It was like a light pinch on the back of the arm and a
Oh,
whisper
yeah.
in my ear said, "When I get back to the car, your ass is mine."
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly
it
what
wasn't a
happened.
scene in the rest
Nope.
anywhere, but
Nope. Nobody heard that
and-
but me.
yeah. Where I came from, they used to call that the fear of God. You need to put the fear of God in
Yep.
that kid.
And the god was mom
Yeah, pretty much.
or dad, one or the other.
One of the parents.
Yep. I'm going to throw out there telemarketers, dude, because I never answer my phone for. And you had mentioned this earlier that you get you answer. I know you have to accept calls from all kinds of people you work with, so you can't save every number where people
And I
call
don't
you.
necessarily know if it's somebody I need to answer the
Yes,
phone, which is
so
the bad part.
I don't have that issue, and the only people who call me are people I know. So if there's a number that pops up, which it does daily, and it's not a number I have saved, I don't ever answer it.
Just delete it or
Yeah.
block it. I mean,
yeah,
Yeah, I
well, they
block
change
them
them every
now, yeah.
damn day because I track
just
them.
keep blocking it.
Yeah, and I don't even have a voicemail, so there's nothing.
You
They
don't
can't.
have a voicemail?
There's no voicemail greeting. I mean,
Oh, okay.
so they don't know who it is. It just says the phone number, and
Oh,
that's
yeah,
it.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I also want to throw out there too. I know. Again, another a situation I try to avoid. Being around salesmen and pushy salesmen, it's so annoying to me.
Hey,
It's
come
like,
by this.
dude, leave me alone.
It's
got
pretty
this
easy to
thing-
shut them down, though.
I
I've
mean,
always found.
I don't want to even have to though. That's what and
Yeah.
and then what I found too is even after especially on car lots. Even after you tell them, dude, my car the oil's being changed right now. There's no chance I'm buying another
Don't tell
car.
'em that.
Well, it does anything to get
Just
them
say
to
nope. Just looking.
they'll follow and not
Nope,
say anything.
just looking.
They'll follow you. That's
Let
what I'm
'em,
saying.
fuck it.
That annoys me.
Yeah.
That's
then,
what I'm saying.
Then you just walk up and start staring at them.
Just stop
No,
and
no,
stare at them.
seriously.
then you might get kicked off the lot.
No, make it feel uncomfortable. It works.
Have you ever seen the Seinfeld episode where the guy calls and he's trying to sell him something? He says, "I'm kind of busy right now. Can I get your number? I'll call you back
Oh,
later."
yeah,
And he says,
yeah.
"Well, I can't do it." And he's like, "Why not? You don't want me calling you at home?" And he goes, "No." He goes, "Yeah, now you know how I feel."
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes, I have seen it.
I'm gonna use that.
Right?
Yeah.
That was a classic Seinfeld moment for sure.
Big time. Yeah. Eating people. God.
People, there's a lot
Eating
of
Somebody-
pet
people.
peeves in
Yeah,
here.
it's a big pet peeve
Eating
of mine
people
too.
is wrong.
Someone eating off my plate annoys
Oh, you're one of those.
me. Yep.
All right, now that I know that, you're done for,
Yeah,
dude.
yep.
Right?
Yep.
That's always like one of those early dating things. I think girls do that to test
That's
you.
where I discovered it was a pet peeve. Is where they want to eat my. It's like I will buy you whatever you want. Like
So why is that a pet peeve?
it's my food.
What are you? What are you, a
I'm
dog?
like a dog. I'm like a dog with a bowl underneath. It's like that's my food. Get off it. I don't know why. It's just like people's fingers in my food.
Well,
like I
that's
just
what
don't-
that's
I
what would
don't-
drive me crazy. Is
Yeah,
when they
because
come and pick
how-
it up and they just pick
now,
it
I
out
get-
of your.
Or a little bit. What if they use a utensil?
Okay, so most of the time when I've had it happen, it has been a finger food. So it's like all of a sudden you got somebody up and they're eating
I know
your
it
crap.
is. Somebody stealing your French fries.
What's my French fries? Yeah, probably.
There's few things in life more dear to this man's heart than a plate of French fries.
I'm going to keep that in mind.
And they always want to take the little things, right? Like the fries.
So I mean, okay, so maybe it's not the most mature thing to do, but why don't you return the favor? Have you ever seen something? You ever just wanted to grab something off somebody else's plate when they're doing that?
In the situation,
a date of yours ever order something that you wanted to try and they go in for it? You're like, well, shit.
And usually they don't mind. They don't look at it the same way, so they don't mind. I don't know why it is. It's just something that bothers me, man.
It's like it's a pet peeve.
Yeah. Another one is getting startled. I freaking hate being startled.
I love startling people.
Some people, startling
made in
people.
heaven.
Yeah, startling people is a different story. That is kind of more fun, right? I don't do it because I hate it so much, but I can't stand it in movies. I can't stand if somebody gets me around the corner or whatever. It's a forced vulnerability, I think, because I've thought a lot about this one. I think it's a forced vulnerability that you're now forced to deal with. Like, dude, you were weak for a second. They're like, oh,
Okay,
damn it.
I understand that. On the other hand, I love it if somebody can manage to startle me. It's exciting, but
I'd be afraid
careful
to catch a
because
judo chop to the face, dude.
I might punch you.
So that's not going to help me. All right, guys. Well, let me see. What else we got?
That just reminds me of the Pink Panther. He always had that guy that was his assistant, and he always trained him to try to attack him and when he would come home in the dark so he could keep his training and his wits about him.
Yep. You got to keep you on your toes, man.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Oh, another one that I ran into, this doesn't bug me, but I saw this in multiple lists, was mouth smacking or loud chewing.
Mouth breathing.
Or people who are heavily that's
the worst.
horrible.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Or eating with their mouth open.
Eating, that is another one that was on that
Oh.
list. Yep, that was a big one. And then another one too that I see a lot, but I guess it depends on your setting or where you are or whatever, is the whole e-cig or vape pen smoking. If there are people,
That's annoying.
because a lot of people, yeah, exactly. A lot of people think that, well, okay, it's vapor. I can blow it out anywhere. Yeah, but except that everyone doesn't want to smell whatever the hell it is, right? So that was the whole thing with that. If you go outside, I'm sure it's not an issue, but yeah, a lot of people were talking about that. And then clipping your nails around people that gets people
Disgusting.
Yeah,
That is disgusting.
Why?
I don't know why it's disgusting either, but
It's so gross because that shit ends up on the carpet where you're hanging out. Oh,
well, what if you're
God.
over a trash can or
Doesn't
something?
matter.
But I mean, yeah.
Doesn't matter. That stray
What if
always
you're
happens.
outside?
Well, I guess that's fine. We're not talking about outside, in an enclosed
So I'm
environment.
talking about where I've experienced it is in the office
At
setting.
work.
Yeah,
Oh my
and
God.
people,
I'll
some people
I'll just
do.
be like, hey, you should do that at home. Really?
That's disgusting. Now I just want to think about the girl Joe was talking about painting her toenails. Did she trim them too?
Oh, I didn't see that. I just saw the painting.
That's
I just
nasty.
saw the
While
painting.
driving down the highway at 80?
Throw them out the window with the cigarette butts?
All right, we got to cut this one short today, guys. I hope
Now
you-
that we're all sufficiently annoyed.
yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you are now annoyed.
Wow.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Show notes and other info can be found at our website, greatdistraction.com. The Great Distraction is listed in iTunes, and we greatly appreciate it when our listeners take the time to look us up and leave us a 5-star rating and review. That helps our show grow and motivates us to continue producing content. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can do so using the email address, greatdistractionpodcast@gmail.com, or via our website. We're always interested in hearing any thoughts, comments, or questions from our listeners. Keeping up on the latest from us can be done in several different ways. You can add us to your favorite RSS feed tracker. The link is available on our website or in iTunes. Or you can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search for Great Distraction, one word, no space. As always, thank you for listening, and thank you for all the support.